brought to you by Soundlibra.com. You can find a direct link to our full library in the description of this audio, or visit us anytime at Soundlibra.com. Hello, and welcome to Raise Boys Who Feel, teaching our sons emotional intelligence. I'm Alex.
I'm Lisa. Today, we're laying the groundwork for why our sons need to feel. We're unlocking their emotional blueprint.
Before we dive in, a quick note. While we're discussing mental well-being, this podcast is for educational purposes and isn't a substitute for professional medical or mental health advice. Always consult with a qualified professional for specific concerns.
So true, Alex. Now, let's get into it. For generations, many boys have been taught to bottle up emotions. The message is often, boys don't cry, or man up. These phrases teach boys to suppress their feelings, to see them as something to be ashamed of.
And what happens when they suppress those feelings? When emotions are suppressed, they don't vanish. They often manifest in other ways. The boy who's told not to cry might later act out with aggression or anger. He might develop anxiety or depression he doesn't know how to articulate. This chronic suppression can even lead to stress-related health issues. It's like trying to cap a volcano. The pressure must release.
So, these societal pressures create a barrier to boys experiencing a full range of human emotion. What do we mean by emotional intelligence for boys?
At its heart, emotional intelligence, or EQ, is the ability to understand and manage your own emotions and to understand and influence the emotions of others. For boys, it's about giving them the tools to navigate their inner world with clarity and confidence. It's about recognizing when they feel frustrated, sad, excited, or scared, and knowing what to do with those feelings.
So, learning to name those feelings is a huge part of it.
Absolutely. Imagine trying to fix a leaky faucet without knowing what a wrench is. Similarly, if a boy doesn't have the words for his feelings, he can't address them. He can't ask for help or communicate them effectively. We want to equip them with that emotional vocabulary to say, I'm feeling overwhelmed or I'm disappointed, instead of shutting down or lashing out.
And when they can articulate their feelings, what are the benefits?
The benefits are profound. Firstly, it builds resilience. Boys who can understand their emotions are better equipped to handle setbacks. They can bounce back from disappointment because they can process it, learn from it, and move forward rather than being crushed by it. This is crucial for navigating life's challenges.
So, it's not about avoiding tough feelings, but about learning to move through them.
Precisely. It's about building a stronger inner foundation. Secondly, emotional intelligence is the bedrock of healthy relationships. When a boy can understand his own feelings, he's much more likely to be able to empathize with others. He can understand why his friend might be upset. He can connect with his family on a deeper level, and he can build stronger, more meaningful friendships. He learns to communicate his needs and respect the needs of others.
That makes so much sense. It's about building bridges, not walls, between people.
Exactly. And it also contributes to their overall well-being and mental health. Boys who are emotionally intelligent are less likely to suffer from anxiety and depression. They have a greater sense of self-awareness and self-esteem because they understand themselves, flaws, and all, and accept themselves. They are more confident in who they are, not because they're perfect, but because they know how to manage their imperfections.
It really sounds like emotional intelligence is a superpower, then, something that benefits them throughout their entire lives.
It truly is. And this concept of vulnerability being a strength, not a weakness, is something we'll be revisiting often. For too long, boys have been conditioned to believe that showing any vulnerability is a sign of defeat. We're here to challenge that. True strength lies in the courage to feel, to express, and to connect.
So, to recap, we've talked about how societal pressures often lead boys to suppress their emotions and the negative consequences. We've introduced emotional intelligence, the ability to understand and manage our own emotions and recognize them in others. And we've touched on the benefits: increased resilience, healthier relationships, and improved mental well being.
That's a perfect summary, Lisa. This is just the beginning of our journey. In the coming episodes, we'll be diving into practical strategies for parents. We'll explore how to help boys name their feelings, how to redefine masculinity beyond rigid stereotypes, and how to cultivate empathy.
It feels like we're setting sail on a really important voyage to help our sons thrive.
We are, and we're so glad you're joining us.
Thank you for tuning into this first episode of Raise Boys Who Feel.
We'll be back next episode to explore the language of feelings, helping boys name it to tame it.
Don't miss it. We'll see you then.
Welcome back. Last time, we explored why emotions matter for our sons. Now, let's build their emotional vocabulary.
Last episode set the stage. Acknowledging emotions builds strength in boys. Today, we're giving them the words to express that strength.
Exactly. Without words, inner storms can feel overwhelming. We need to equip them with a rich vocabulary for feelings. Picture it like giving them a toolkit for their inner world.
So, how do we begin building this emotional language? It sounds like creating a safe space is key.
It starts with us by modeling our own healthy emotional expression. When we say, I'm feeling frustrated because of traffic, or I'm excited about this project, we show them it's okay to have and voice feelings. This isn't about oversharing, but about normal, everyday emotional sharing that demonstrates vulnerability is a strength.
Modeling is vital. What are some common words we should introduce? And are there specific feelings boys tend to shy away from?
Societal norms can steer boys away from sadness or fear, making them think these are weak emotions. We need to introduce words beyond just happy and sad. Think contentment, disappointment, joy, frustration, nervousness, excitement, gratitude, embarrassment. A whole spectrum, like a painter with a wide palette.
A rainbow of emotions. For younger kids, how do we weave these words into daily life?
Narrate their experiences. If blocks fall, say, it's okay to feel disappointed when something you worked hard on doesn't go as planned. You validate the feeling and give it a name. This is like providing a label for an experience they're having.
So we observe, and then we put a word to what we believe they might be feeling.
Precisely. And label the positive feelings too. You must feel so proud of that drawing, or you seem to be feeling a lot of joy right now. Making sure we acknowledge the full range of human emotion.
Making feeling labels as common as naming objects. That sounds like it really normalizes expressing what's going on inside.
Exactly. For older boys, conversations can be more detailed. Ask open-ended questions like, how are you feeling about that test tomorrow? Instead of a simple, are you okay? This invites more than a yes or no answer.
What if they struggle to answer, or just give a one-word response?
Offer suggestions. Sometimes when I feel nervous, my stomach feels tight. Do you feel anything like that? Connect physical sensations to words. They become detectives of their own inner state, piecing together clues.
That detective analogy is great. Observation, labeling, validating, and guiding them to articulate their internal experiences. What about when they just say bad? That feels like the ultimate vague feeling.
I feel bad is a fantastic chance to explore. Gently ask, is that bad feeling more like anger, sadness, or worry? Offer choices. Sometimes bad feels like a tightness in my chest. Does it feel like that for you? You're helping them differentiate and pinpoint the exact emotion.
And this should come from a place of genuine curiosity and support, not interrogation. We don't want them to shut down.
Absolutely. If they're not ready to talk, we can say, I'm here to listen if you want to talk later. We've planted the seed, showing them we're a safe confidant and that their feelings are important enough for us to wait.
How can we make talking about feelings a regular part of our interactions, not just a special talk that happens only when there's a problem?
Integrate it. At dinner, share one feeling from your day. When reading a book, ask, how do you think that character is feeling? We can even narrate feelings during play. You seem determined building that tower. Or, it's okay to feel a little frustrated with the puzzle, but you're still working on it. This makes emotional language a natural part of communication.
So, it's woven into the fabric of family life. Parents sharing their feelings creates openness, and normalizing the conversation means they're more likely to come to us when they need to.
Yes, this helps them understand that feelings are normal, okay, and manageable. Naming a feeling often lessens its power, allowing us to acknowledge, understand, and move through it. This is the core of emotional intelligence, recognizing and understanding our emotions so we can manage them effectively.
To recap, we build sons' emotional vocabulary by modeling our own feelings, introducing a wide range of feeling words, narrating their experiences, validating their emotions, and asking open ended questions. We integrate these conversations into daily life, creating safe opportunities for connection and learning to name their inner world.
A perfect summary, Lisa. We're giving them the words to describe their inner landscape. This ability to name and understand feelings builds the foundation for managing them, empathizing with others, and navigating life with confidence. Next episode, we'll redefine masculinity beyond the stiff upper lip.
Looking forward to it. Thanks for joining us on Raise Boys Who Feel.
Thanks for listening. Welcome back to Raise Boys Who Feel. Last time, we explored the fundamental importance of allowing our sons to feel and understand their emotional journeys. Today, we're diving into something that's been a cornerstone of how boys are raised for generations, the concept of masculinity. We're going to move beyond the stiff upper lip and explore how to redefine what it truly means to be a strong man in today's world.
That's such a crucial topic, Alex. So many of us grew up with a very narrow definition of masculinity: be tough, don't cry, don't show weakness. It's like boys are handed a script from day one that says certain emotions are off limits.
Exactly, Lisa. And that script, while perhaps well-intentioned in some historical contexts, can actually be incredibly limiting and, frankly, harmful. It creates this idea that men are supposed to be stoic, independent machines, always in control, never needing help, and certainly never expressing anything that might be perceived as soft. We're talking about the man up mentality, the idea that emotional expression for boys is a sign of weakness.
And that man up mentality is exactly what we need to challenge. Because when boys are told to suppress their feelings, what are they really learning? They're learning to disconnect from themselves and, subsequently, from others. It becomes a barrier to genuine connection and can lead to a lot of internal turmoil.
Precisely. Think about it metaphorically. Imagine emotional expression is like a river. For boys raised with the stiff upper lip ideal, they're often told to build dams across that river. The water, the emotions still exist, but it's forced to find other, less healthy ways to escape, perhaps through aggression, withdrawal, or even physical symptoms of stress.
That's a powerful image, Alex. So, how do we begin to dismantle this ingrained societal norm? How do we help our sons understand that true strength isn't about bottling things up, but about having the courage to feel and express?
It starts with us, the parents and educators. We need to actively question these traditional ideas of masculinity in our own minds first. What does it mean to be a man? Does it mean never feeling sad, afraid, or vulnerable? Or does it mean having the emotional intelligence to navigate those feelings, understand them, and respond constructively? We need to show them that vulnerability is not a flaw, but a fundamental aspect of being human, and a key component of genuine strength.
So it's about redefining strength. Instead of looking at someone who never shows emotion as strong, we should be looking at someone who can acknowledge their emotions, even the difficult ones, and still function and connect. It's about emotional resilience, not emotional suppression.
Exactly. True strength lies in emotional wisdom and authenticity. It's about being able to say, I'm feeling overwhelmed right now, or I'm disappointed, or I'm a little scared. These are signs of self-awareness and courage, not weakness. When we model this for our sons, we give them permission to do the same. We can share our own feelings in age-appropriate ways. This isn't about oversharing or burdening them, but about showing them that adults, especially men, experience a full range of emotions and have healthy ways of dealing with them.
I think that's a really important distinction, Alex. It's not about making our sons feel responsible for our emotions, but about showing them that emotional expression is a normal, healthy part of life for everyone. Can you give us a practical example of how a parent might do this?
Certainly. Imagine your son is upset because he didn't get picked for a sports team. A traditional response might be, shake it off, you'll get them next time. Don't be a crybaby. A response that redefines masculinity would be, I can see you're really disappointed, and it's okay to feel sad about that. It's tough when you work hard for something and it doesn't work out. What's one thing you enjoyed about trying out, even though you didn't make the team? This validates his feelings while also gently guiding him toward a more balanced perspective and encouraging him to find positives.
That's so much more empowering. It acknowledges his pain, normalizes his reaction, and then helps him process it without judgment. It shifts the focus from simply being tough to being resilient and self-aware. And that resilience is what actually makes someone strong in the long run.
Absolutely. And this extends beyond just sadness or disappointment. Think about anger. Boys are often allowed to express anger, but usually only in certain ways, often aggressively. But anger is an emotion that, like all others, needs to be understood. When we help boys understand why they're angry, is it frustration, fear, injustice, feeling unheard? They can learn to manage it more effectively. Learning to say, I'm angry because I feel my boundaries have been crossed is a far more mature and powerful response than simply lashing out.
So, in essence, we're teaching them emotional literacy for a modern context. It's about equipping them with the tools to understand the complex emotional landscape of life, rather than just telling them to ignore it.
Exactly. We're helping them build an emotional toolkit. This isn't about turning boys into perpetually sensitive individuals. It's about raising emotionally intelligent men who are capable of deep connection, clear communication, and healthy self-regulation. It's about understanding that true masculinity encompasses empathy, compassion, and a willingness to be authentic, not just stoic.
And this authenticity is so vital for building relationships, isn't it? When boys grow up feeling they have to put on a tough facade all the time, it can make it incredibly difficult to form genuine, deep connections with friends, partners, and even their own families. They might feel isolated, even when surrounded by people.
That's a crucial point, Lisa. Connection is built on vulnerability. If a boy believes he can never show any perceived weakness, he can't truly let anyone in. He can't ask for help, he can't share his burdens, and he can't fully experience the richness of human relationships. By encouraging emotional expression, we're fostering the very foundations of strong, healthy relationships. We're setting them up to be men who can be present, understanding, and supportive partners and friends.
So, to recap for our listeners, the traditional idea of masculinity, often characterized by suppressing emotions and maintaining a stiff upper lip, can be a significant barrier to emotional well-being and healthy relationships. We need to actively challenge these norms by redefining strength. True strength involves emotional wisdom, authenticity, and the courage to feel and express a full range of emotions. By modeling this for our sons and validating their feelings, we equip them with an emotional toolkit that allows for genuine connection and resilience. We're raising boys to be men who are not afraid to be human.
Well said, Lisa. By dismantling these outdated stereotypes, We're not only helping our sons navigate their own emotional worlds more effectively, but we're also contributing to a more compassionate and understanding society as a whole. This shift in perspective is absolutely key to raising boys who feel deeply, connect authentically, and lead fulfilling lives.
It's a profound change, and one that starts with these conversations and conscious efforts in our homes.
Indeed. And that brings us to the end of episode 3. Next episode, we'll be delving into the empathy engine and exploring how to cultivate compassion in our boys. Welcome back. Last time we explored redefining masculinity. Now let's tackle empathy.
Empathy. It's such a powerful word, Alex. It's that ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. And for boys, I think it's something we often don't explicitly teach, do we? We hope it just happens.
Exactly, Lisa. We hope they'll just get it. But empathy, like any other skill, needs to be nurtured and practiced. Think of it as an engine. It needs fuel and regular maintenance to run smoothly. Without it, boys can struggle to form deep connections, resolve conflicts peacefully, and truly understand the world around them. It's the bedrock for building meaningful relationships and a strong sense of community.
So, where do we start? How do we actually cultivate this empathy engine in our sons?
The absolute cornerstone is active listening. This is more than just hearing the words someone is saying. It's about paying full attention, understanding their message, responding thoughtfully, and remembering the communication. When our sons are talking about their day or a friend's problem, are we really listening?
That's a good point. Sometimes, I'm already thinking about my next question or my own response. Active listening means putting your own agenda aside for a moment and truly focusing on the speaker.
Precisely. And for our sons, this means modeling it. When they talk to you, put down your phone, make eye contact, and show them you're engaged. Use verbal cues like uh-huh or I see, and nonverbal cues like nodding. Then, when it's your turn to respond, reflect what you've heard. You might say, so, it sounds like you felt frustrated when your game wouldn't save. Is that right? This isn't about judging or fixing. It's about showing you understood their emotional experience.
That validation is so important. It tells them their feelings are heard and important. So, active listening is one key component. What else fuels this empathy engine?
Perspective-taking exercises are incredibly powerful. This is where we encourage our sons to step into someone else's shoes and imagine how they might be feeling. You can do this in so many everyday ways.
Can you give us some examples?
Absolutely. When you're reading a story together, pause and ask, how do you think the character in the book feels right now? Why do you think they're sad? Or if you see someone struggling, like a classmate who dropped their books, you can ask, how might that person be feeling? What can we do to help them? It's about prompting them to think beyond their own immediate experience.
I can see how that would help them develop that mental leap to understand another person's situation. It's like a mental workout for their compassion muscles.
Exactly. And it's not just about hypothetical scenarios. We can talk about real-life situations. Remember when your friend Maya was upset because she didn't get to play? How do you think that felt for her? This connects the abstract concept of empathy to concrete, relatable experiences.
It makes it real. And I imagine, Alex, that a lot of this comes down to modeling behavior, doesn't it? Our boys are always watching us.
You hit the nail on the head, Lisa. Modeling empathetic behavior is arguably the most impactful way to teach it. If we want our sons to be compassionate, they need to see compassion in action, directed towards them and towards others.
So, if we are actively listening to them, validating their feelings, that's a direct model of empathy.
Precisely. And it extends to how we talk about other people. Do we speak with kindness and understanding about those around us, even if we disagree with them? Or do we resort to criticism and judgment? Imagine the impact of you saying, when discussing a news story, That person's situation sounds really difficult. I wonder what led them to that point. That's a subtle but powerful lesson in empathy.
It's about showing them that there are often complex reasons behind people's actions, and that a first step is to try and understand, rather than immediately condemn.
Absolutely. And this connects directly back to our previous episodes. Remember when we talked about boys needing to feel and name their emotions? Empathy is the natural extension of that. Once a boy understands his own feelings, it becomes much easier for him to recognize and understand similar feelings in others. So, when he feels frustrated, he can then say, I remember feeling like this when Daniel was left out of the game. He must have felt really sad.
That's a fantastic callback, Alex. It shows how interconnected these emotional intelligence skills are. Naming your anger helps you recognize anger in someone else. Understanding your own sadness helps you connect with another's sorrow.
Right. And as we move forward into topics like managing anger and navigating disappointment, empathy will be our guiding star. Because understanding why someone is angry or why they're upset is the first step to responding constructively and supportively.
So, to recap for our listeners, cultivating empathy in our boys is an active process. It starts with active listening, where we truly focus on understanding what someone is saying, both verbally and nonverbally. Then, we encourage perspective taking, helping them imagine what others might be feeling through questions and discussions about various scenarios. And crucially, we must model empathetic behavior in our own interactions, showing them how to be compassionate through our words and actions.
Well said, Lisa. These aren't one-time lessons, but ongoing practices. By consistently nurturing these skills, we're not just raising boys who are emotionally intelligent. We're raising them to be kind, connected, and compassionate human beings who can make a real difference in the world.
It's about equipping them with the tools to build stronger, more positive relationships throughout their lives.
Indeed. And as we continue this journey, remember that fostering empathy is an ongoing commitment. It's about creating an environment where understanding and compassion are not just encouraged, but are the norm.
Thanks for listening.
Welcome back. Last time, we explored empathy in building compassionate boys. Now let's tackle anger.
Anger. It's a word that brings up a lot of feelings for us as parents, doesn't it? Sometimes it's the shouting, the door slamming, the frustration that boils over. It's easy to just want it to stop. But you're right, Alex. For our boys, learning to understand and manage anger is so important.
Absolutely, Lisa. Anger is a natural human emotion, just like joy or sadness. It's often a signal. It's our body's way of telling us that something isn't right, that a boundary has been crossed, or that we feel threatened or unfairly treated. For boys, who are often taught to be strong and stoic, that signal can get amplified or it can be misinterpreted.
So, instead of just seeing it as bad behavior, we should be looking at what the anger is trying to tell us.
Exactly. The first step in helping our sons manage anger is to acknowledge that the feeling itself is okay. We need to help them understand that anger isn't the enemy. It's what we do with that anger that matters. If we teach them to suppress it completely, it's like stuffing a balloon tighter and tighter. Eventually, something has to give, and it's rarely pretty.
That makes so much sense. It's like saying it's okay to feel frustrated when your toy breaks, but it's not okay to smash it.
Precisely. So let's talk about triggers. What usually sets off anger in young boys? It can be anything: not getting their way, feeling misunderstood, sibling rivalry, feeling overwhelmed, even physical discomfort like being tired or hungry. It's crucial for us to become detectives, observing our sons to notice patterns. When their anger flares, what was happening just before?
And acknowledging those triggers is a way of validating their feelings, isn't it? Helping them see that their reaction, while perhaps not the best way to express it, stems from something real for them.
Yes, Validation is key. When a child is angry, they need to feel seen and heard, not just punished. Phrases like, I can see you're really frustrated because your tower fell down, can go a long way. It's different from saying, stop crying, it's just blocks. One acknowledges the feeling, the other dismisses it.
Okay, so we've acknowledged the feeling, we've identified potential triggers. What are some practical strategies we can teach our sons to help them navigate those intense moments?
Great question. We want to equip them with a toolkit, not just tell them calm down. One of the simplest yet most powerful is teaching deep breathing. Think of it like a superpower for their nervous system. When we're angry, our breathing gets shallow and fast. Slow, deep breaths signal to the brain to calm down. You can practice this together. Inhaling slowly through the nose, holding for a moment, and exhaling slowly through the mouth. Maybe call it dragon breaths or balloon breaths to make it fun.
Oh, I love that. Dragon breaths. So, taking a moment to breathe can interrupt the escalation. What else?
Taking a break. This is about creating space. When a child is overwhelmed by anger, they're not thinking rationally. Encouraging them to go to a designated calm down corner or even just a different room for a few minutes can be incredibly effective. It's not a punishment. It's a tool for self-regulation. This physical separation allows their intensity to naturally subside. We can help them prepare for this by discussing it when they are calm. If you feel that big frustration building, it's okay to go to your fort for a few minutes until you feel a bit calmer.
So, a pre-planned retreat. That's smart. It gives them agency.
Exactly. And then we move into problem solving. Once the initial storm has passed, we can help them brainstorm solutions. If the anger was triggered by a conflict with a sibling, we can sit down and ask, what could you have done differently? What's a fair way to handle this next time? This teaches them constructive ways to address the underlying issues rather than just reacting.
This is where we help them channel that energy from destruction to creation, or at least to resolution.
Precisely. And this leads to assertive communication. Boys often swing between aggression, yelling, hitting, and passivity, shutting down, withdrawing. Assertiveness is the middle ground, clearly and respectfully stating your needs and feelings without attacking others. We can teach them phrases like, I feel angry when you take my toy without asking, or I need some space right now. Practicing these phrases, role-playing them together, can build confidence.
So, to recap for our listeners, we're helping our boys understand that anger is a valid feeling. We're encouraging them to identify their personal anger triggers. We're teaching them immediate calming strategies like deep breathing and taking breaks. And then, when they're ready, we help them problem solve and communicate assertively.
That's a fantastic summary, Lisa. And remember, this isn't a one-time fix. It's a skill that needs consistent practice and patience. Our boys will have setbacks, and they'll need our support. Our role is to be their guide, modeling calm behavior ourselves, and consistently reinforcing these healthy coping mechanisms.
It sounds like a journey, but one that leads to so much more than just quiet behavior. It leads to emotional resilience, better relationships, and a stronger sense of self for our sons.
Indeed, by helping them navigate the storms of anger, we're equipping them with essential life skills. We're teaching them they can face difficult emotions and come out stronger on the other side, not by suppressing them, but by understanding and managing them. This ability to handle intense feelings is foundational for so many other aspects of emotional intelligence we'll be discussing.
Thank you, Alex. This has been so insightful. It reframes anger not as something to fear or eliminate, but as an emotion to understand and work with.
My pleasure. And speaking of understanding and working with other intense emotions, that's exactly what we'll be diving into in our next episode, where we'll be talking about the power of connection and building deep, meaningful friendships. Next episode, the power of connection, building deep and meaningful friendships. back to Raise Boys Who Feel. We've discussed understanding and managing anger. Now, we're tackling the power of connection and building deep, meaningful friendships.
This is so important, Alex. Stereotypes can suggest male friendships are always surface level, but that's not what we want for our sons.
Exactly. That's where the emotional intelligence we've been discussing comes in. Remember empathy from episode 4? That ability to understand and share another's feelings is the bedrock of strong friendship. If a boy can step into his friend's shoes, he's building a powerful connection.
So, it's not just about having someone to play catch with, but having someone who truly understands you. Someone you can talk to when things aren't going well.
Precisely. And that understanding comes from the emotional language skills from episode 2. When boys are comfortable naming their own emotions like, I feel frustrated or I'm really excited, they're better at recognizing and responding to those same feelings in their friends. It opens the door for genuine connection.
That makes sense. If you can't articulate your own feelings, how can you connect emotionally with someone else?
A perfect analogy. And this ties into building trust. Deep friendships are built on trust, and trust is built on emotional expression and response. When boys learn to be vulnerable, even in small ways, like sharing a worry or admitting a mistake, they create space for their friends to do the same. This shared vulnerability strengthens the bond.
You mean like when one friend sees the other is a bit down and asks, Hey, is everything okay? That simple question, showing care, is emotional intelligence in action, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's about active listening, showing genuine interest, and offering support without judgment. These foster a sense of safety and security within the friendship. When boys feel safe, they're more likely to be themselves, sharing their triumphs and struggles. This is how friendships move from casual acquaintances to something truly meaningful.
A key aspect here is also mutual respect. It's a two-way street. Boys need to learn to respect their friends' feelings, their boundaries, and their individual personalities.
You've hit on a crucial point. Respect is fundamental. And as we encouraged a broader understanding of masculinity beyond the stiff upper lip in episode 3, we're supporting boys in forming emotionally rich relationships, which relies on mutual respect. It's about valuing each other as individuals with unique emotional landscapes.
So, how can parents and caregivers actively help boys develop these friendship-building skills? It feels like we're moving from internal emotional skills to external social application.
Great question. One way is through modeling. Children learn by watching the adults around them. When parents demonstrate healthy communication, empathy, and respect in their own relationships, their sons absorb those lessons. This includes how we talk about our own friends and handle disagreements.
So, if I handle a disagreement calmly and respectfully, my son sees good conflict resolution and learns that challenging conversations don't have to be destructive.
Exactly. Another practical approach is to create opportunities for positive social interaction. This could be playdates, clubs, sports teams, or community activities. These are natural environments where boys can practice their social and emotional skills. And it's important to encourage them to reflect on these experiences afterward.
What kind of reflection are you suggesting?
We can ask open-ended questions like, how did you feel when your friend shared that with you? Or what did you do when you saw your friend was upset? This prompts them to think about the dynamics of the interaction and connect it back to their own emotional understanding. It helps solidify those lessons.
That's wonderful. It turns a social experience into a learning opportunity without making it feel like a lecture. We're reinforcing those empathy and communication skills we've already built.
Absolutely. And we must also teach them how to navigate the inevitable bumps in the road. Disagreements, misunderstandings, even temporary conflicts are a normal part of any relationship. Instead of avoiding them, boys need to learn how to address them constructively. This might involve apologizing, seeking to understand the other person's perspective, or finding a compromise. These are valuable lessons in resilience.
That connects perfectly to episode 9 about handling disappointment and setbacks. Building friendships means learning to navigate challenges together. It's all interconnected.
It truly is. And as we prepare to move into discussing vulnerability, it's important to emphasize that deep friendships are where vulnerability can safely be explored. When boys have established friendships built on trust, empathy, and respect, they feel more secure in opening up about their deeper feelings, their insecurities, and their fears. This is where true intimacy in friendship blossoms.
It sounds like we're challenging the stereotype of male friendships being just about doing things together, and instead fostering a vision of male friendships that are emotionally rich, supportive, and deeply connecting. Friendships where boys feel seen, heard, and valued for who they are.
That's precisely the vision. Fostering these deep connections is not only crucial for a boy's immediate happiness and well-being, but it's also laying the foundation for healthy, fulfilling relationships throughout their adult lives. It's about building a strong social and emotional support network that will sustain them.
So, to recap, genuine friendships for boys require the emotional skills we've been building: empathy, emotional literacy, and the ability to express feelings constructively. These skills, combined with trust and mutual respect, create safe spaces for connection and vulnerability. By modeling good habits and providing opportunities for practice and reflection, we can empower our sons to build and maintain these vital, meaningful relationships.
Excellent summary. The power of connection through deep friendships is an essential part of raising emotionally intelligent boys. Next time, we'll explore embracing vulnerability, which is the next step in truly building that inner confidence. Next episode, Embracing Vulnerability, the true mark of a confident boy. Welcome back. We're recapping the building blocks of emotional strength.
That's right, Alex. We've covered so much ground in Raise Boys Who Feel. It's time to pause and reinforce those crucial building blocks before we move into some potentially more sensitive, but incredibly rewarding topics.
Absolutely. We began by establishing that boys need to feel. It's not about suppressing emotions, but about acknowledging and allowing them. We discussed how often boys are taught to be stoic and why that's detrimental. Encouraging boys to feel is the very first step.
And that leads directly to the language of feelings. We stressed that getting boys to name their emotions, whether it's frustration, sadness, or even joy, is a powerful tool. It moves them from a vague, overwhelming sensation to something understandable and manageable. Giving them the words is key to taming those feelings.
This is also where we began to reframe masculinity. We challenged the old school idea that strength means never showing emotion. Instead, we presented true strength as emotional intelligence, the ability to understand and express a full range of feelings. This redefinition helps boys see that being emotionally open is not a weakness.
Then we explored the empathy engine. Cultivating empathy is about helping boys understand and connect with the feelings of others. We learned that this compassion builds better relationships, reduces conflict, and fosters kindness. It's about looking beyond oneself.
And an emotion many boys struggle with is anger. We really dug into understanding and managing anger. Instead of letting it explode, we discussed how to identify triggers and find healthier ways for boys to express frustration and distress constructively.
So, to recap, we've focused on four key areas. First, the importance of letting boys feel and giving them the language of feelings. Second, redefining masculinity to include emotional expression as strength. Third, building the empathy engine for compassion. And fourth, constructive anger management. These are the foundations.
They are indeed. And underpinning all of these is another vital aspect that we touched upon in our last full episode, the power of connection. Strong, meaningful friendships are essential for a boy's emotional health, providing support, validation, and a sense of belonging. These connections are built on the emotional skills we've been discussing.
So, just to list those building blocks again: allowing boys to feel, giving them the language of feelings, a broadened definition of masculinity, developing empathy, managing anger, and fostering strong connections. These are the core concepts that equip our sons for a fuller emotional life.
And importantly, these concepts are not isolated. A boy who can name his feelings is more likely to empathize. A boy who sees emotional expression as a strength is less afraid to be vulnerable. A boy who manages anger well can maintain those vital friendships. Everything connects and reinforces itself.
It's a cohesive approach. We've established the why these emotional skills are so crucial for our sons' development and well-being. We've provided the how, practical ways to foster these skills in their daily lives. These are the essential pillars we've been constructing.
And these pillars are exactly what make the next step possible. By building these foundational skills, we are creating the environment for our sons to truly embrace vulnerability. It's a concept that can seem daunting, but it's actually a sign of great inner strength and confidence.
You're right. We've laid the groundwork by teaching them to feel, to name, to understand, to empathize, and to connect. All of these actions prepare them for the courage it takes to be vulnerable. It's the natural progression in their emotional development, and it leads to deeper confidence.
They've learned to navigate their internal landscape and their relationships. This prepares them for the next level of emotional maturity, which is embracing vulnerability as a strength, not a weakness. It's about being open and authentic.
So, for our listeners, remember those foundational concepts: allowing emotions, naming feelings, redefining strength, building empathy, managing anger, and nurturing connections. These are the essential tools you've been reinforcing. They are the scaffolding for what comes next.
And as we move forward, we'll see how these building blocks empower boys to be open and honest, even when it feels challenging. We've solidified the core principles of our series so far. This recap ensures we're all prepared for the deeper discussions ahead.
We've established the importance of emotional literacy, empathy, and healthy relationship building. These are your ongoing tools.
And with these tools firmly in hand, we are ready to explore the profound impact of vulnerability. It's truly the mark of a confident boy.
Thanks for listening.
Welcome back. Today, we're exploring embracing vulnerability as a mark of confidence.
That's right, Alex. For so long, boys have been told to tough it out, to hide their feelings, especially fear, sadness, or doubt. We've been conditioned to believe that showing vulnerability means you're not strong. That couldn't be further from the truth.
Exactly. When we allow ourselves or our sons to be vulnerable, we're essentially saying it's okay not to be okay all the time. It's about acknowledging that it's human to experience a wide range of emotions, and it's brave to express them authentically. This isn't just about allowing sadness. It's about permitting fear, admitting confusion, and even sharing moments of self-doubt.
So, vulnerability isn't about wallowing in sadness or being overly dramatic. It's about authenticity and honesty about one's internal state. It's like having a crack in armor that lets you see what's truly inside, rather than just presenting a solid, unbreachable surface.
That's a great analogy, Lisa. And this is where all the emotional intelligence skills we've been discussing come into play. Remember when we talked about naming feelings? That's the first step. A boy needs to recognize and label his fear or his sadness before he can express it vulnerably. Then, when we talked about empathy, it's that same understanding that allows us to connect with others when we share our own vulnerabilities.
So, if a boy can name his fear and then express that fear to someone he trusts, he's demonstrating vulnerability. And by doing so, he's actually building a stronger connection with that person. It's a shared human experience.
Precisely. When a boy feels safe to share his vulnerabilities, he's building authentic connections. These aren't superficial relationships. They are deep, trusting bonds where he knows he can be himself, flaws and all. This kind of connection is incredibly powerful for a boy's emotional well-being and for his development into a well-rounded man.
And this leads to a different kind of confidence, doesn't it? Not the loud, boastful kind, but a quiet, inner strength that comes from knowing you can face your emotions and be accepted.
Absolutely. True confidence isn't about never feeling fear or doubt. It's about feeling those things and still being able to move forward, knowing you have the internal resources and the support systems to handle them. When boys are allowed to be vulnerable, they learn to trust their own emotional compass and to seek help when they need it, which is a sign of immense strength.
How can parents create this safe space for our sons to be vulnerable? It can be scary for us too, as parents, to see our sons distressed.
That's a very real challenge. The first step is our own mindset. We need to consciously unlearn the old messages about boys needing to be stoic. Instead, we need to view vulnerability as an opportunity for growth and connection. When your son expresses something difficult, resist the urge to immediately jump in and fix it or dismiss his feelings.
So instead of saying, don't worry about it, or you'll be fine, we should try something different?
Yes, try active listening. Make eye contact, nod, and use phrases like, it sounds like you're feeling really scared right now, or tell me more about what's making you feel sad. Validate his emotions. A simple, I can see that this is really hard for you, can go a long way.
Validation is so important. It's like giving him permission to feel what he's feeling. And this connects back to our earlier episodes on naming emotions.
Exactly. It reinforces the idea that his feelings are valid and understandable. Also, model vulnerability yourself. Share your own imperfect moments in an age-appropriate way. Talk about a time you felt nervous before a presentation or disappointed when something didn't work out. This shows your son that it's normal and healthy to experience these emotions.
That's a fantastic point. We are our sons' first and most important role models. If we can show them that it's okay for us to be vulnerable, they're much more likely to embrace it themselves. And this doesn't mean oversharing or burdening them with our adult problems, but rather demonstrating healthy emotional processing.
Right? It's about showing them that navigating difficult emotions is a key part of being human and that it's a skill that can be learned and strengthened. Another practical tip is to avoid immediately offering solutions. Sometimes boys just need to be heard. Let them sit with their feelings for a bit. This helps them build their own internal resilience.
So, to recap this part, encouraging vulnerability in our sons means creating an environment where they feel safe to express fear, doubt, and sadness without judgment. This involves our own mindset shift, active listening, validating their emotions, and modeling vulnerability ourselves.
And the outcome of this? It's not a weaker boy. It's a boy who is more connected to himself, more deeply connected to others, and ultimately, more genuinely confident. He understands that his worth isn't tied to never having a negative emotion, but to his ability to navigate the full spectrum of human experience with courage and authenticity.
This truly feels like a turning point in raising emotionally intelligent boys. It's about letting go of outdated notions of masculinity and embracing a more holistic, authentic approach to manhood. It's about equipping them with the emotional tools not just to survive, but to thrive.
It's about raising boys who know that true strength lies in their ability to feel, to connect, and to be themselves fully and unapologetically. When boys embrace their vulnerability, they unlock their capacity for deeper love, stronger resilience, and more profound self-acceptance. This is the foundation for becoming men who can navigate life's complexities with courage and compassion.
So, we've learned that vulnerability isn't a flaw, but a feature of a strong, confident individual. It allows for deeper connections, a more authentic sense of self, and the courage to face life's challenges. We can foster this by shifting our own perspectives, actively listening, validating our son's feelings, and modeling healthy emotional expression.
Indeed, embracing vulnerability is a crucial step in raising boys who are not only emotionally intelligent, but also resilient, compassionate, and truly confident individuals. It's a powerful gift we can give them. Next episode, handling disappointment and setbacks, building resilience. Welcome back to Raise Boys Who Feel. Today, we're tackling disappointment and building resilience.
Life throws curveballs, Alex. How do we help our sons handle them?
Disappointment is a teacher. We must help boys see setbacks as learning opportunities, not judgments. Think of learning to ride a bike. You fall, you learn. That's resilience.
So, it's about reframing failure as I learned what doesn't work. How can we encourage that?
Model it ourselves. When we face setbacks, show a problem-solving attitude. Share your own past challenges and what you learned. This normalizes the experience and shows there's good after difficulty.
That's powerful. And what about a growth mindset?
A growth mindset is believing abilities grow with effort. It shifts focus from innate talent to the learning process. Someone with a growth mindset sees challenges as opportunities to grow. This means they believe their skills and intelligence aren't fixed, but can be developed through dedication and hard work.
So, if a boy struggles with math, instead of you're not good at math, we say, math can be tricky, but let's try a different approach. Your effort will pay off.
Exactly. Praise effort, strategy, and progress. Highlight persistence when they master a difficult video game level or try a new soccer skill. This builds their belief that they can improve, which is the core of developing resilience.
And how does emotional regulation connect to bouncing back from disappointment?
It's fundamental, Lisa. Disappointment and frustration are natural responses. If feelings are suppressed or ignored, we can't truly move past them. A boy who accepts it's okay to feel sad or frustrated when not making a team is already on the path to bouncing back. He's acknowledging his emotions rather than fighting them.
So, accepting difficult emotions is the first step. Then, managing them so they don't overwhelm us.
Precisely. Emotional regulation is the skill to experience feelings without being consumed by them. Tools like deep breaths, talking about it with a trusted person, or engaging in physical activity can help. These are the same regulation skills we discussed for managing anger, applied now to the context of disappointment and setbacks.
It's like building a strong foundation for facing life's challenges. What are concrete ways we can help boys develop resilience when facing setbacks?
First, validate their feelings. Say, I see you're disappointed. It's okay to feel that way. Avoid rushing to fix the situation for them. Let them sit with the feeling for a bit, acknowledging its presence. Then, encourage reflection with open-ended questions. Ask, what could you try differently next time? Or, what did you learn from this experience?
That shifts focus to their agency and their ability to learn and adapt.
Exactly. It empowers them and emphasizes their role in overcoming challenges. We must also set realistic expectations. Our goal isn't to shield them from every disappointment, but to equip them with the internal tools to handle it effectively. Allow minor failures. It's far better they experience small rejections or difficulties now, when the stakes are lower, than major ones later in life without any coping skills.
So, it's about building their capacity to bounce back, not preventing them from ever falling. How do we encourage persistence when they're feeling down or defeated?
We celebrate effort, not just the final outcome. If your son studied hard for a test, acknowledge and praise that effort as a victory in itself, even if the grade isn't ideal. Then brainstorm next steps together. Say, okay, that specific approach didn't yield the result we wanted. What's our next step? Let's look at what went wrong and how we can adjust.
This sounds like a continuous process woven into the fabric of parenting.
It absolutely is. Building resilience is woven into everyday life. Every challenge, big or small, is a practice opportunity. We are raising future men who will face far greater tests. Equipping them with these emotional tools to navigate disappointment and setbacks is one of the greatest gifts we can give them, helping them see failure not as an ending, but as a crucial stepping stone.
So, to recap, we've learned the importance of reframing disappointment as a learning opportunity, fostering a growth mindset by consistently praising effort and strategy, and utilizing emotional regulation to manage difficult feelings that arise. By validating their emotions and encouraging problem solving, we empower them to bounce back stronger from any setback.
That's a perfect summary, Lisa. These are the essential skills that build confident, capable, and emotionally intelligent individuals ready to face the world. Next episode, we'll be navigating the digital sphere, exploring how boys can manage their emotions online and in social dynamics. Welcome back. Last time we explored the digital sphere.
That's right, Alex. We discussed how much of our son's social lives unfold online and the unique emotional challenges they face there. We talked about cyberbullying, the pressures of social media, and how critical open communication is for navigating these issues.
Absolutely. We emphasize the importance of validating their feelings, no matter how they arise from online interactions, and a need to pause before reacting in digital conflicts. Fostering digital empathy and responsible digital citizenship were also key takeaways.
And these skills are vital because stress is such a common companion in a demanding world. So, this episode, Boys and Stress, teaching coping strategies for a demanding world, feels like the natural next step.
It really does. Stress isn't just an adult problem. Boys experience it too, often in ways we might not immediately recognize. The pressure to perform academically, excel in extracurriculars, maintain social standing, and even manage future anxieties can all contribute to significant stress.
It's true. Sometimes it comes out as irritability, withdrawal, or even physical complaints like headaches or stomach aches. How can we help our sons identify and manage these feelings of stress?
The first step is often creating awareness. We need to help them recognize the physical and emotional signs of stress in themselves. You know how we talked about naming it to tame it with emotions? That applies to stress too. We can introduce simple language like feeling overwhelmed, feeling keyed up, or feeling drained.
So it's about giving them a vocabulary for what they're experiencing. Once they can identify it, what are some practical strategies we can teach them?
There are many, and it's about finding what works best for each individual. We can start with basic relaxation techniques. Deep breathing exercises, for example, are incredibly powerful. Imagine them taking slow, deep breaths, filling their belly with air like a balloon, and then exhaling slowly, releasing the tension. This simple act signals to the body that it's okay to calm down.
That sounds straightforward, like a mental reset button. What else?
Mindfulness is another powerful tool. It's about bringing their attention to the present moment without judgment. This could be as simple as focusing on their senses. What do they see, hear, smell, taste, and feel right now? Or engaging in a single activity with full focus, like really tasting their food or feeling the water when they wash their hands. This shifts their focus away from worries about the past or future.
So, it's about anchoring them in the here and now. That makes sense, especially when their minds might be racing with worries. We've talked about physical activity before. Does that play a role in stress management?
Absolutely. Physical activity is a fantastic stress reliever. Exercise releases endorphins, which are natural mood boosters and pain relievers. Whether it's playing a sport, going for a run, or even just a brisk walk, encouraging regular physical activity can make a significant difference in managing stress levels. It also provides a healthy outlet for pent-up energy.
And what about problem solving? Sometimes stress comes from feeling like a situation is unmanageable.
Exactly. Teaching problem-solving skills is crucial. When a boy is feeling stressed about something specific, like a difficult assignment, we can help him break it down into smaller, manageable steps. We can encourage him to brainstorm solutions, evaluate them, and then choose the best course of action. This empowers him, giving him a sense of control over the situation, which is a great antidote to stress.
So, it's not just about calming down, but also about equipping them with tools to tackle the sources of stress. This connects back to resilience, doesn't it?
It does. Building resilience is all about helping boys bounce back from challenges, and effective stress management is a cornerstone of that. When they learn to cope with stress in healthy ways, they become more confident in their ability to handle future difficulties. We want to foster that I can handle this mindset.
It also means teaching them the importance of rest and balance. Are we encouraging too much activity, for example?
That's a critical point, Lisa. Overscheduling can be a significant source of stress. We need to help our sons understand the importance of downtime, relaxation, and adequate sleep. Prioritizing sleep is fundamental for emotional regulation and overall well-being. Teaching them to create a balanced routine, one that includes time for work, play, rest, and connection, is vital.
So, to sum up for our listeners, stress is a significant challenge for boys, manifesting in various ways. We can help by creating awareness of stress signals, teaching practical coping strategies like deep breathing, mindfulness, and physical activity, empowering them with problem-solving skills, fostering resilience, and ensuring they understand the importance of rest and balance are also key. The goal is to give them an emotional toolkit that helps them navigate life's demands with greater confidence and well-being.
You've summarized it perfectly, Lisa. These skills aren't just for childhood. They're life skills that will serve them as they grow into young men.
And speaking of growing into young men, our next episode looks at challenging the old ideas of masculinity and encouraging them to question and create.
Next episode, Challenging Stereotypes, Raising Boys Who Question and Create. Welcome back to Raise Boys Who Feel. Today we're diving deep into a topic that touches so many young lives, stress. We'll explore what stress looks like for boys and equip you with practical coping strategies.
Stress can feel like an invisible weight, and for boys, it might manifest in ways we don't always recognize. They might become withdrawn, irritable, or even experience physical symptoms. Understanding the sources of stress and having a toolkit of strategies is crucial.
Exactly. Think of stress as your body's reaction to any change that requires an adjustment. For boys, these demands can come from school, friendships, family expectations, or even the pressure to conform to certain ideas of what being a boy means.
So, it's not just about big, dramatic events. Little daily pressures can add up too.
Precisely. And one of the most important things we can teach our sons is how to recognize when they're feeling stressed. The first step to managing stress is simply acknowledging, I am feeling stressed right now.
When you can name something, you can start to understand it, and then you can do something about it. So, what are some of the ways boys might show they're stressed?
They can be restless, have trouble sleeping or concentrating, show increased irritability or anger. They might also withdraw from friends and activities or complain of headaches or stomach aches.
It's like their system is overloaded. And once we can identify those signs, we can introduce coping strategies. What's a good starting point for helping them manage this feeling?
A powerful tool is mindfulness. It's about bringing your awareness to the present moment without judgment. For boys, simple mindfulness practices can be incredibly effective.
How does that look in practice for a child?
It can be as simple as a mindful breath. Encourage them to notice their breath going in and out, or guide them through a short body scan where they bring their attention to different parts of their body.
So, it's about grounding them in their physical experience right now, rather than getting lost in worrying about the past or future.
Exactly. And another key area is relaxation techniques. These help calm the nervous system. Progressive muscle relaxation is one I often recommend. It involves tensing and then releasing different muscle groups. This helps boys become aware of the difference between tension and relaxation.
That sounds like a great way to work out physical tension. Are there other relaxation methods?
Absolutely. We can also teach them simple breathing exercises. The square breath technique is very effective. You breathe in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, breathe out for a count of 4, and hold again for a count of 4. It's a slow, rhythmic pattern.
It's like creating a little bubble of calm.
It really is. And this ties directly into the importance of self-care. We need to help our sons understand that taking care of their well-being isn't selfish. It's essential. This means ensuring they get enough sleep, eat nutritious foods, and engage in physical activity.
And how can we encourage that self-care when they might be resistant or not see the value in it themselves?
It often starts with us modeling it. We can also help them schedule in activities they enjoy, things that genuinely help them recharge. This could be reading, drawing, spending time in nature, listening to music, whatever brings them joy and a sense of peace.
So, it's not just about reacting to stress when it hits, but building a lifestyle that helps prevent burnout.
Precisely. Recognizing and naming stress is the first step. We've explored mindfulness, relaxation techniques, and the bedrock of self-care. These are all concrete ways to empower our sons.
It's about giving them a sense of agency so they don't feel like stress is something that just happens to them. They can actively manage it.
Exactly. And these strategies build resilience over time. By practicing these techniques, boys develop stronger emotional regulation skills. They learn to anticipate stress and have a plan in place. This connects to our earlier discussions on anger management and emotional regulation.
It's like building a mental and emotional shield. And that's so important for navigating this increasingly demanding world. We want our sons to be able to handle pressure without crumbling.
Absolutely. And as they grow, these strategies will evolve. What works for a 7-year-old might need adjusting for a 17-year-old, but the core principles remain awareness, calm, and self-compassion. We're teaching them lifelong skills for a more balanced and fulfilling life.
So, to recap for our listeners, we've discussed how recognizing stress in boys is the crucial first step, looking out for signs like irritability or sleep disturbances. Then, we introduced practical coping strategies, mindfulness and mindful breathing to bring them into the present moment. We also covered relaxation techniques, such as progressive muscle relaxation and the rhythmic square breath, to calm their nervous system. And finally, the vital importance of self-care, including adequate sleep, nutrition, activity, and scheduling enjoyable downtime.
That's a wonderful summary, Lisa. These tools empower our sons to manage stress effectively, fostering resilience and inner peace. By teaching them these strategies, we're equipping them not just to survive, but to thrive.
It feels so empowering to have these concrete tools to offer our sons. Thank you, Alex.
You're welcome. Next episode, Challenging Stereotypes, Raising Boys Who Question and Create.
Can't wait.
Welcome back to Raise Boys Who Feel. Today, we're challenging stereotypes and empowering boys to question and create.
It's so important, Alex. We need to break open those rigid boxes of how boys are supposed to be: tough, stoic, and with very specific interests.
Exactly, Lisa. These narrow definitions can deeply limit our sons' curiosity, talents, and their ability to express their full selves. Imagine if a boy loved art but was told it wasn't manly. How does that impact his emotional world?
He learns a part of him isn't acceptable. He might suppress those interests and the emotions tied to them. He might feel pressured to like certain activities or act unnaturally.
This pressure starts early, seen in toys, media, and conversations. Phrases like boys don't cry reinforce limited stereotypes. Our goal is to help sons question these messages.
So, how do we encourage boys to question these ingrained norms?
It starts with modeling and open conversations. We must examine our own biases. Do we subtly reinforce gender stereotypes?
Many of us do it without realizing. Complimenting a girl on her dress, but a boy on his strength. It reinforces binary expectations.
Precisely. Then, we actively introduce sons to a wide range of interests and role models. Think books, movies, and people from diverse backgrounds, showcasing different expressions of masculinity.
So, instead of just pushing typical boy activities, we're broadening their horizons to show them a rich tapestry of experiences.
Yes, and it's about validation. When a son shows interest outside the stereotype, like dancing or gentle care, we need to celebrate that. Show him his interests are valuable.
That validation builds confidence and self-worth, not tied to external expectations. It allows them to explore their authentic selves. What about fostering creativity?
Creating is about breaking molds. When we challenge stereotypes, we give sons permission to create their own paths. This means problem solving, artistic expression, and innovative thinking. We foster it through open-ended play and encouraging their ideas.
Open-ended play lets imagination take flight, giving them blocks, art supplies, or unstructured time.
Absolutely. When they face creative challenges, we can ask questions like, what could you try differently? Or what's another way to approach that? This builds critical thinking and problem-solving skills.
So it's guiding them to find their own solutions, raising boys who are independent thinkers.
Exactly. We want them confident in their unique identities and unafraid to express them. This is crucial for their well-being and for society. Authentic boys are more likely to be empathetic, innovative, and compassionate, contributing unique perspectives.
It feels like we're building towards something bigger. By challenging stereotypes and fostering creativity, we're raising better future men.
That's the ultimate goal. We are raising individuals secure in themselves, who connect deeply and contribute meaningfully. This episode empowers sons to question limitations and create their own narratives.
So, we're examining our biases, broadening exposure to diverse interests, validating passions, and encouraging experimentation through open-ended play and guided questioning. This helps them challenge stereotypes and embrace creativity.
You've hit the nail on the head. This empowered approach allows sons to develop a strong sense of self and the courage to express it. It's about raising boys who feel, connect, question, and create, essential for becoming emotionally intelligent men.
As we move towards our final episode, the idea of raising boys who question and create feels like a powerful foundation for them to build a better future.
It truly is. It's about giving them tools to navigate a complex world with emotional depth and intellectual curiosity. Next episode, The Legacy of Emotion, raising emotionally intelligent men for a better future. Welcome. Let's discuss raising emotionally intelligent men.
It truly has been an incredible series. We've built a strong foundation.
Absolutely. And today, we're bringing it all together. We're talking about the legacy we're creating of emotionally intelligent men.
So, we're looking at the big picture. How do all those individual lessons combine to create something enduring?
Think about it. When we teach our sons to understand their own emotions, they're less likely to be overwhelmed. This is the first step towards self-mastery. We discussed how important it is to name their feelings. Remember how we said naming it helps tame it? That's a crucial building block.
Right. So, they understand themselves better. But what about their relationships with others?
Indeed. And that's where empathy comes in. By teaching boys to understand and share the feelings of others, we're cultivating compassion. An emotionally intelligent man can connect with others on a deeper level, making him a better friend, a more supportive partner, and a more understanding leader. He can step into someone else's shoes and truly grasp their perspective.
It's like building bridges between people. That definitely contributes to a more harmonious society.
Precisely. We've also explored how to help boys navigate difficult emotions like anger and disappointment. Learning to manage anger constructively, rather than letting it explode, is a sign of maturity. And developing resilience, the ability to bounce back from setbacks, is essential for facing life's inevitable challenges. This isn't about avoiding tough times. It's about equipping them to get through them.
So, they can handle their own internal storms and the external ones, too. That's powerful. It's about developing a strong inner core.
It is. And this strength isn't about being emotionless. We've challenged those stereotypes. True strength lies in vulnerability, in the courage to feel and express emotions authentically. A boy who can be vulnerable is a boy who can be truly confident, not afraid to be human.
That point about vulnerability really stuck with me. It's counterintuitive to the old ideas of masculinity, but it's so much more realistic and healthy. It allows for genuine connection and growth.
Absolutely. And as they grow, this emotional intelligence will influence every aspect of their lives. In their careers, they'll be better collaborators and communicators. In their personal lives, they'll build stronger, more fulfilling relationships. They'll be men who can offer emotional support.
It sounds like you're describing a generation of men who are not only successful, but also deeply good and considerate people.
That's the vision. It's about raising sons who are not just prepared for the world, but who are actively making it a better place through their understanding and their empathy. We're talking about leaders who inspire through connection, partners who nurture through understanding, and individuals who contribute to their communities with compassion.
So, this final episode is a call to action? To continue this work?
It is. The skills and understanding we've discussed, from naming emotions to practicing empathy, from managing anger to building resilience, these are not one-time lessons. They are ongoing practices. The legacy we're building is one that requires consistent nurturing and modeling. Our commitment today shapes their emotional landscape for a lifetime.
And it starts at home, with us. By being the example, by creating safe spaces for our sons to explore their feelings, and by continuing to learn and adapt alongside them.
Precisely. We've given listeners a comprehensive toolkit from understanding their son's emotional blueprint to envisioning the legacy of emotionally intelligent men. We've covered the language of feelings, redefined masculinity, built the empathy engine, navigated anger storms, fostered deep connections, faced disappointment with resilience, embraced vulnerability, tackled digital emotions and stress, and challenged limiting stereotypes.
It's a full circle. We started with the foundational need for our sons to feel, and we're ending with a profound impact that providing that foundation has on the future they will create. It's about raising sons who are not only equipped to navigate the world, but to enrich it.
And that, our listeners, is a legacy worth building. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey with Raise Boys Who Feel. We hope you'll continue to carry these lessons forward, fostering emotional intelligence in your sons and helping them become the compassionate, resilient, and understanding men our world so desperately needs.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for listening to the series.